Oh boy. You know who is here. Raise
You
voices.
know who it
And
is.
are we back with Sam? We keep just showing up in the building.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we're back. Don't be mad about it. Be happy. You know you need us. We are needed.
Oh,
We just here declaring stuff.
come on, somebody.
So we are here. Another guest. Oh, you thought we were gonna stop. You better stop saying that prayer. Get up off your knees.
You thought we knew three people.
Right.
Okay.
Your knees are blocked for no reason. I did not ask you to pray for us to stop. Pray for something else. Listen, future risers, all listeners, we are growing. We thank you guys who have subscribed. We thank you for coming on, checking us out, and giving some validity. Listen, I told you guys, we need to get to 100 subscribers. So let's make this thing happen. When you see this on air, it will be the month of April. So I need 17 more people to come in the casa. And we gonna let y'all put y'all foot on the ottoman. We getting better and kinder.
Yeah. Yeah. You could go in the fridge and get yourself a little something, something
Yeah, get
now.
whatever you
Okay.
want. Like we're doing work to be kinder. So we're not gonna limit you anymore. But for us to give you something, uh-huh.
Mm.
Okay, you know, you in the United States, you got to give us something. That that's just how it go. That's just how it go.
That's
Don't be
just
look. Tell those people in the back row, Miss Sound, to sit down. They keep walking out when we ask them for something.
have a seat.
Mm,
Several seats.
hey,
Okay.
sit
Talk about it.
down. Don't
Sit
be
down.
leaving. We
No.
would like to get 17 more subscribers by the end of April. So let's make that happen. Without further ado, we got a guest. She's a triple guest. Why? Because the topic and the mission is big. I
Mm-hmm.
said big. So we have Miss Josayne with us, Anderson-Tejera. I had to drop that one, okay? Y'all know.
The Duolingo is working, girl. The
Duolingo. Ding, ding,
Tahara.
free,
Okay.
free,
Yeah.
free. All right, free my people. Listen, who is she? Executive Director of the Love Quest Foundation. She is a local in the Hudson Valley. We'll make sure you got the link to the website. What is she doing? She's got a mission. It's a vision and a mission. Mission
Mm.
impossible up in here? No, it's mission possible. Why is she doing it? She's got a full team and they're helping her. And we're going to start to help her because you're going to commit yourself. She is breaking the silence. Oh, you heard me. There is some silence around this, surrounding intimate partner and teen dating violence. Y'all got that it's a double tier, right? It's intimate partner and then teen, and there's violence in both category. Don't get
Mm-hmm.
mad. There's another one, domestic abuse. It's real, and we're not talking about it enough. Oh, we got
Mm.
better. I got you. Don't yell at me. 2024. We're being more open, but we can always improve.
Yeah.
There's another one. I told y'all, sexual assault. Okay, take a breath. I'm gonna wait for you. Oh, yeah, she's doing work on all of those. Oh, you're paying attention. Guess what she's trying to do? Build teen confidence and helping them navigate in their quest for love. Because you can't stop the human desire to want to love and be loved.
Mm.
So we might as well figure out how to help our young people. I'm talking about teens starting from 13 and up. Y'all can count.
Mm.
Can we help them navigate with wisdom? Can we help them navigate by giving them the right resources, the right mentors, the right people? If we can do that, we can help them create the right example as to how to date without there being abuse, neglect, or violence. We can teach them. If you teach them well, they might choose well. All right, Miss Sounds, I'm going after the people. My hands are up.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
stop. I'm
Yeah.
getting too serious. Miss Sounds, take us into the
It's
word of the day, and I'm going to do some very big inhaling and exhaling behind the scenes.
absolutely take the time that you need. Before we get into the word of the day, I just want to tell our listeners that if this is a triggering podcast in any kind of way for you, please take the time that you need to step away or stay tuned for the next one until you're ready. Because we are going to be talking about some topics that can, be triggering for some people based on what you've experienced in your life. So please take care of yourself.
Please.
Now let's get into the word of the day. Just lighten it up a little before we get into the depth of what we're going to talk about. Our word of the day is life is what happens to us while we are making other plans. So what we like to do on the word of the day is read it and then each of us just pop in and reflect on it. Azali, I'm gonna throw it at you first.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
because I know you was breathing, you doing your breathing
You saw
exercise.
that, right? I was trying to be all silent. Oh my goodness. Life is what happens to us while we're making other plans. I'm gonna borrow again. It sounds like say life be life in. What that's starting to mean to me is that things are going to happen. And sitting there and hoping and praying it's not going to happen doesn't work. Doesn't work. I didn't say not to pray, so y'all don't run down the street with that newspaper because that's not what I said. I'm saying that you have to be action in your own life. Period. Every day. Not all day, but every day. Pick and choose the things you got to work on and do those things. And so while the other plans will be you're working on your wellness or your personal journey, right? The rest of your regular life is happening. Your kids need you, hubby needs you, girlfriend, boyfriend needs you, church needs you, community needs you. So life is going to keep happening while you're making plans to get yourself together. So that's what it means to me is that I've got to learn to pick my battles because the battles are going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I think about plans as in something that structures a path for us to go forward, something that we expect will reap what we desire. And I look at life as this unpredictable. The one thing we know about life is going to be unpredictable. That's we can our plans, we feel like we can map those out. Life will take a turn in a minute. And that's the one thing we can only rely on when it comes to life. But I heard something recently about when we are in places where we're building our lives, trying to get better in wellness and health, in mental health, all these different areas of our life that we're trying to clean up and map out. The gold is really when life strikes you with some unpredictable things. Like where you learn the real stuff is when you have to pivot, when you have to restructure things that are happening that you did not expect, when you have to learn from something you thought was going to go a certain way and it didn't go that way. That's where the gold is. And I think that we sometimes we look at life as the enemy to our plans, and it is really working for us. It really is.
Executive Director Josayne. I had to do
Yeah, what you think, Josayne?
Executive.
Y'all giving me definitions out here. I was thinking about a one syllable word. I was like, what they got for me today?
Okay. Oh, word. Yeah.
I was like, y'all got words.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of what you said, and I'm thinking of expected ends. Because while we're in it, when life happens to us, we're like, how do we get out of it? How do we see the light out of the tunnel? But it's already finished for us. We just have to get to the other side of it. And it's hard to see it in that motion. Like sometimes things have been on pause for me for decades because of life happening to me, but I still finish because there's an expected end, and it's good.
Ooh. We got it. We're gonna have to start a t-shirt company.
Right. Expected ends.
She said she
I love that.
got to finish, okay? Got to, because there is what? Not will be, should be, could be, is.
I gotta make it. I gotta make it.
I'm
My
stuck
name
my
is on that
PG
thing at the
journey
end.
because y'all pushing buttons today. Wow.
Oh my
Good
goodness. No.
sounds. Where we gonna go? Because I need to keep breathing. Oh,
Well, we getting a glimpse of Josayne, your depth already, right? I want to know, I think we want to know, who is Josayne? What birthed this amazing business, this amazing organization out of you? What were the things that came together for you that said, I need to create something that's not happening in the world right now?
ooh, yeah.
Oh, that's loaded. So Josayne, my hashtag is my social media handle is Josayne meant to be. Like I know I have a purpose.
Mm,
Was raised in the church, very strong, strict parents. I had a
yeah.
set life plan out for me. It pivoted as soon as I got to college. Some other things, hurdles, obstacles in the way before I got there. Um, I just say at the heart of who I am is community. I was raised with my great grandmother. She lived to be over 100. So I've had strong people around me all the time. I knew my history. I knew things that needed to be better for the future. And I also saw what could be possible because of the people before me who paved the way. So, my why is when I was in college, I became pregnant during my junior year. I was a student athlete, not like on a division team, but like more intramurals and things like that. And I got pregnant, and my daughter's father was on the basketball team. He was a walk-on, so he wasn't like an official person either. I always played sports since like middle school, track, cross country, all those things. Always been community, always been a team player. So he was like, "Yeah, I want to get married, I want to have kids." And then here you go. I
Nice.
got pregnant. I didn't get my period for like a month, so I went to the health services department on campus, and I said, didn't get my period, want to know what's going on. So I took the test, and it said I was pregnant. And then they said I had three options. They said I had adoption, abortion, or to keep it. And it was a struggle for me because I was a church girl, supposed to not have sex, so I got married, fornicating, the end of the world, and I'm like, oh, I'm by myself, I'm isolated, out of away from home, away from my family, my support system. And I just
Mm.
decided that I was going to keep my child because, I did the act to procreate, and that happened. So um he was like, he didn't want me to do it. He thought he was going to the league because I was messing up his future. And it got physical real fast. So I had to make the decision. I had to move off campus. Um, Nobody in my family knew, nobody in my friends, not a lot of my friends. We had shared friends, so the shared friends knew. They wanted me to have an abortion. They said, girls are doing it every day around here, just do it. It's like pop it like candy. And I was like, it didn't sit well with me. And I said, no, that's not that. I was convicted. I was raised a certain way. I had my values. And I knew that that's what I had to do. So it was birthed from that experience. Like I'm a kind of person that I look for solutions right away, like in the moment. So if something is a solution for me or for someone else and I can create it or duplicate it or find it, I'm a resource, like instant kind of resource person. So that
Mm,
is what happened. And that's how it was formerly called Once for All Inc. And when I first started it I actually started on campus when I was at school. I was telling my friends, I was telling people about it, and I was taking all the kids to church. Like I was the one on campus with my Bible and my break in the cafeteria, taking the kids, church vans. After, like I was that person, and all of a sudden I was not that person, but that person. So
mm,
it was very traumatic for me. My parents didn't find out, so I confided in some of my childhood friends from church. They told people at church, and everybody at church knew except my parents.
Oh
So
no.
I had to tell
mm,
them. So I had a lot of different things going on at the same time. I was going through this myself. I was going through domestic violence. I was betrayed by people that I trusted with information that I held close to me. And I just had a lot of things going on. And in isolation and no one to trust, I only had him despite all of that because of all the situations that were surrounding me. So it was a much, but I know
yeah.
that silence is real. I know that um that struggle is real. And also his family also bribed me to have an abortion. They offered me thousands of dollars to have an abortion as well. So that was my start. That
Mm,
was a welcome to their family.
Oh my
it was
God.
a lot of things going on, but I'm always the kind of person that once I make a decision and I know it's the right one for me, I'm gonna stay true to it. I'm gonna hold it, and I'm gonna do what I have
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like
Wow.
we can go so many different places. I'm gonna stay seated because I feel like I'm running around this place right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just so many components to that. But first, let me say, Black woman to Black woman. Y'all heard me say it. You know I'm Black. I'm gonna keep saying it in case you're not watching the videos. Okay. That, as a teenager, that's blazing courage. Like,
Yeah.
that is missing from many today. I'm never gonna say all because it's not an all, right? But it's that courage as a teenager to say, all right, I did this thing. Here's the outcome. And I'm about to just keep rocking all the way through because the outcome was based on my action, even though I'm by myself and this thing is not feeling cool right now. And then I just lost every status that I ever thought I had cemented.
Mm.
That's like the definition of courage to say, I'm a stand. I feel like laying down, I
Yeah.
feel like running, but
Yeah.
the best choice for me is to stand.
Mm.
All right. I had to get that out because you know what?
Yeah.
We have to salute each other, human to human, men to men, women to women, race to race, culture to culture. So we salute
Yeah.
you for doing that, finding out a part of your fiber, and for then relaying it to us.
Yeah. One of the things that I really see a lot of strength in your story is the ability to carve or listen, I would say listen and follow the guidance, like the internal guidance that's happening in you to create safety when it's very unsafe. Like there's a bunch of unsafe things happening. And so it even shows in Love Quest Foundation. Like I'm looking for love, right? Is safety one of your a core principle in this foundation? And if so, how does that tie into um, intimate relationships and teen violence and domestic violence and things like that?
So I would say yes. I would say it has multiple layers. So safety, yes, physically, you want to be out of a place that's violent. Sometimes you can't because it's in your house, it's in your family. Also, it's the what's been accepted for a long time, safety. So a lot of things, like I was a victim of sexual assault at a very young age by a family member. So you love your family and you know something's not right, but you don't have the words for it because you're at a certain age. So safety in terms of, no, you're not sitting on everybody's laps. No, you're not going to be at
Yes.
everybody's house. You're not spending the night. No. So another part of the why was generationally, I've seen that in my family, whether it was domestic violence, sexual assault. And I said, why is this going to keep happening? I'm not passing this down to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally prayed to God. I said, I want a daughter. I do not want a man after this man. Like I don't want to continue his legacy as a male. I was like, Lord, please, if I'm gonna do this, it's gonna be a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it because I wanted to instill that nurture. And I had my struggles because of what I was going through. We'll get into that a little bit later, but
Yeah.
I didn't know how to raise a son from a person like that. And I didn't want to be set up for failure twice in that kind of scenario. So safety, we had different cultures, so safety and cultural responsiveness to things. So I would say yes, and then having a safe space to share, and when you're ready to share. Because I've told friends, I've told family, some people shoulder shrug, some people they don't know what to say. And there's courage in sharing your story and being
Mm.
able to say, I can say it for you if you can't. So this happened to me. So if you're taking the advice and the resources that I'm sharing, you don't have to tell me it happened to you. Just know that it happened to me and you see where I am today. So I would say the safety aspect is like various.
Yeah.
It's a variable in that
Yeah.
response.
But
Yeah.
then that's such a big one that you brought up about safety because man, when we're looking at teenager, I mean, anyone that would share any parts of your story, it's going to be difficult. But I'm just kind of thinking of the teenagers because that's where you started in terms of, becoming a mom. Oh boy. You thought you were safe by the people you told in the church. So how do you, or how did you, in your case, when that safety was violated, because they went and gave info without your permission, and I understand why they did it culturally, but daggone, it would have been great if they'd just given you a little bit more time to be the one to tell your parents so that you're not sitting, oh my gosh, among sharks for a minute. I ain't calling the church sharky, so y'all don't come at me, but I'm just saying in her situation, she in the deep and a whole bunch of sharks around and ain't nobody throwing out a life jacket or something to save her. So what do you do when your safety that you thought was safe is violated, shut down, eliminated? Like, how do you even find safety anywhere after that? Like, how do you approach that to search for safety after that? Because y'all just shut me down. Like, I'm wounded again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to keep it 100, I was ready to box. Okay.
I'm just trying to.
I mean, come on, somebody. I was waiting for you to say it. Okay.
I was like, look,
gonna be right with you.
because they didn't know the other side of what I was going through. So I'm like, I'm already going through so much that you're adding more to my plate. So in addition to that, there was people in the church that were nurturing. So there were people that, like my Sunday school teachers, that I look at them as like a aunt. I called them as well. They went through that as well. And I knew that people had experiences similar to that. So I called people that had similar experiences that could help. So they were very helpful and like, go get some assistance, go get this. Like they were really, helpful. But there was also people around me in my school, like they say that you are the subtotal of the 5 people you hang around. And the 5 people I hang around, we all went through the same thing in different ways, whether it was sexual assault, whether it was this. So I had people who could relate to me at the same time. And I had resources of people that live by example when I was growing up. So I knew that there were other people. I didn't put everybody in a box because of some things that happened to me by a couple people. So I did, I was able to parse that out in a way that I could, find a village. I have 3 sisters biologically, and I have additional sisters that are like best friends since a long time. So I know that I have a strong support system on females. I'm never one of those like, oh, I can't stand, like, no, I have a real good support system in that regard. So I can separate the who's regardless of where they're seated.
Whew, that's maturity at your age at that time. That's all I can say to that, because I can imagine today that someone going through something similar or worse would be so lost that they'd be like, yo, I'm out of here. Forget this life. Because I mean, for me personally, I'm just gonna speak for Zali, and I'm big enough to stand by myself, is you get betrayed out in the world, you kind of okay a little bit. You're gonna bounce back. We're gonna let them know that they didn't take me out. You get betrayed in the church when you are someone who believes in God. That's a whole nother kind of betrayal that I just don't know how easy that would be to, like, I don't know, brush your shoulders off, stand up, march on, be the soldier. So that's what I'm here thinking about as a teenager. That's what I'm thinking about. So I commend you. I'm gonna have Miss Sounds takers because I'm just flabbergasted right now, and kudos to you. And that's all I keep coming back to. That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Love Quest Foundation covers a lot of instances that probably even the most put together person probably wouldn't find themselves. They wouldn't think they would find themselves in, right? So how does one get into situations like this? Because earlier you just said, I was a part of the church. You had a very structured life, right? And so one would think that that's the profile of someone that wouldn't get into a certain type of relationship. But what are some misconceptions we have about people that end up in these type of relationships?
So it's faceless. So I just think we have to just remove what we expect it to look like and not to look like. Like I literally couldn't go to the movies. I couldn't wear jeans, like all those, even in college, like the church mothers when I went to church, I was Kojic.
Yes.
They was telling me in college, like I said, first of all, Do you know I'm here after at Friday night in college? I'm here at Bible study with you. So it's either going to be the jeans or you're going to leave me alone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then I had to fight
Um,
for the youth at the church. I said, I play basketball. I work at a gym. You think I'm gonna go up on a ladder with a skirt because you want us to wear skirts 24/7 in life? I said, absolutely not. So I was
mm,
advocating for the youth. Then I was like, no, we're not doing that. And I'm not doing it.
yeah.
You're gonna accept me or I'm gonna just be in these streets. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to let them know I
Yeah,
said that.
yeah,
I had
yeah,
to set them straight.
absolutely.
I was like, and my parents always instilled like know the word for yourself. Man-made things and what is our instructions before leaving earth is two different things.
Yeah.
So my parents like show me the scripture. If it's not there, have a seat.
Yes.
Respect your elders, but respectfully have a seat.
Actually have a seat.
So
Yep.
so I went to Bible school, I did all these things. Like I knew the word for myself. So I know you were saying earlier about, how do you tell people to trust? The Psalms are full of it. David said, it was my brother that did that to me. It says
Yeah.
when you go to a town and they don't listen to your word, the dust off your feet. So it's
Yeah.
like those things are there, all those scenarios are there, and it's an example for us to know that it can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
anything can happen to anyone. You don't expect it. It comes out of left field. Like I said, I was gonna get married. I was gonna have kids. I wasn't gonna have sex until then. I got to college and I was like, oh, I'm free. And then it just went there.
mm, yeah.
So like my dad was, he had 4 girls. So since we were 5, he's like, men only want to get in your pants. That's all they want. Like that's all he ever
Yeah.
said. So my parents, I think they guarded us, but they also didn't prepare us for like real life relationships. They were just like, this is how you're gonna do it, but it wasn't like this is like, like the Muslims, they chaperone their kids on dates. Like there's certain cultures that do different things to prepare people. It's just like, don't do it. And I was like, well, what if you do? You
Yeah.
don't know because they say don't do it. So it's
Yeah.
just like you gotta like I have very in-depth conversations with I have a 6-year-old son and my daughter's 22 right now. So we talk about body parts. We call it what it is. We don't do binky pinky. It's a penis. It's a vagina. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to touch me there. Like we get into it because they need to know when something is off and they need to know
Yeah.
when this is right. So it can happen to anyone. It could be, unexpected, but I just feel like I was just like a very loving person and I thought everyone else was loving as well. If you told me you love me, that I
Mm,
didn't expect anything different. So
mm,
when the guy at the time, I was actually dating someone else, and I was 20 when I got pregnant, but I was in my teens, going to college. But the first person that I dated in college, he was way older than me. He was like an off-campus person, and I met him on campus. But then my daughter's father was pursuing me while I was with him for like a year. And I was like, no, not interested, like not interested. Didn't even have like the physical like attributes like I would be attracted to. But he just wore me down and it wore me down. So like for somebody to pursue you for that long and then flip the script when something doesn't go their way was very
mm,
unexpected and he's very like maybe five, I don't know how, like maybe 5'10", real skinny, like wouldn't fit the description of someone that says, oh, like when I told people that they couldn't imagine like who that Urkel looking, like come on, so
mm.
they think you have to be like this big bodybuilder muscle motorcycle dude. No, it could be anyone. Anybody can get enraged. Anybody can go from 0 to 100 when
Yeah.
stuff doesn't go their way or the outcome and expectations that they were looking for.
So
Yeah.
at the time you were coming up and going through these are like levels of life. You know what I'm saying? Like you're experiencing 10 years at a time of trauma. Like it's crazy. Was narcissist a term being used? If not, is it a term that you kind of can see that now with some of the behavior that you experience? Because that's being thrown around a lot. Narcissistic tendency, or that guy is a narcissist. And part of that is certain guys who will pursue. Like they know it's a do not enter sign. You're taken, you're whatever, but they pursue real hard and they seem to have a game plan like to conquer the conquest. So it was that at your time, was that word thrown around? And if it wasn't, do you kind of see that word as fitting based on what you went through now that he potentially had some of those traits?
So I didn't really hear narcissist till like recent with this election that's going on.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't really use it because when a word is used so much, it's taken out of context and people don't really know what it means anymore. And I went to school for English creative writing, so like words really matter to me. So I would just say that people switch it up. People are not what they present. And I just, just having that discernment. When my mother met him at college and she said he's not the one. That's all she said. That I was already pregnant. She didn't know. It was too late. I couldn't say. Like, I'm like, all right, well, thank you. But like having people and our friends are like, oh, give him a chance, give him a chance. Because we were, like I said, we were all together, we were always at the gym, we were always, doing sports. So it was just like athletes in college is a world within itself.
Oh, yes.
So there's levels to that too. There's a lot of from the sports center, like help them pass, help them grow. Like it was a lot. So it's like we're isolated too. So it's like so many levels of isolation and things that go on in that world as well. So I would just say people just they show different faces at different times to different people. So it's hard for people to see them that way because they've never seen them that way. They only present it one way.
Yeah. So what are questions you tell your teens to ask? Because like you're saying, people can switch it up. So how does one, teen or not, but I'm just stuck on the teen part for today. What questions do you tell them to ask when they think they're in a serious relationship or we're about to take it to that intimate relationship? Are there questions you tell them like, hey, you better ask to try to identify if you need to keep moving forward or just do a reverse?
Yeah.
So we do teens and tweens. So we start at 11. And it's more, I want to build them up to the person that they're supposed to be before we even get to the relationship. So we do the 5 love languages, what healthy relationships are, what they're supposed to look like. You shouldn't be in no serious relationship at 14. Those are options. Those are just testing, you having fun, So it's more about equipping them with who you are, where you're going, focusing on the outcome and the things that you want to do in your life. So when you're ready to settle down, you don't have regrets. Giving them opportunities to and exposure to mentors and experiences, because a lot of our youth are come from social different backgrounds socioeconomically. So we take them to the Essence festivals, we take them to LA, we take them places. So when they're in a relationship and somebody says you can't do this, you can't do that, you're like, I've been places, I've seen things, people have shown me the way, they show me the path. So, and this doesn't feel like love because I know that these are not healthy love languages. These are the red flags. So we go over the red flags. But I don't think, some people find their high school sweetheart, they do all that. That's fine and well, but you should be focusing on you, focusing what you want to do and your skills and gifts and talents that you're going to present to the world. You should be honing those, and all the other stuff is just secondary at that age and stage.
I wish I got to figure out how to high five virtually.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got that raise hand
Strengthening who
button.
you are. Yeah. Showing them how to strengthen who they truly are so that they can spot some counterfeit activities when someone tries to manipulate them. What are some ways that when you do have to, educate on what to look for and, red flags, the devil be busy, okay? He be cunning, and it is, what I mean?
Customizing your assault.
Yeah, flattery and all the things, right? And you, by the end, you be like, oh, what? Like, this is what's happening, right? What are some innocent looking things that may appear harmless that end up being this insidious kind of trap that you talk about in your...
So I would say like they don't want you to go anywhere. They don't want you to have any friends. They just want you about yourself all the time. And the thing that attracted them to you now was not a good thing. You have a bubbly personality. Now you're like looking like a zombie, walk around because you're not happy anymore. we do like the writing exercises, and we do awareness and prevention audio visual campaigns. So we do PSA. So they write the songs, they write the scenes, they're involved in the production. So they can speak for themselves. They can write out the scenarios that they've seen. They share the stuff that they witness. We do also do bullying stuff, because bullying is a gateway to some things. People pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do can turn into the next level things. So having them have a voice in the say, some of the songs like I wrote myself based on my experience, and showing them, you know, how innocent things like playing basketball, and now they pushing you and throwing the ball at you hard, you know. Um, so things like that can lead to like physical things, and even emotional, so psychological things. People talking to you crazy, like, hold on, you know.
Mhm.
So it's like some things affect people differently, but knowing that you should be respected, knowing that someone should talk to you a certain kind of way, and you know when they're not doing that, you can walk away. That's not for you. That's not what that's not what I accept. Um, so some things like that.
That's good. You know, as you were talking, something that came to my mind as I'm gonna put it as a homework of mine, but I'm gonna put it out to the audience. First type of homework is two family or single parent home. We have to be careful that some of the things that Josayne just said, that we're not emulating or modeling those behaviors in our home, and that allows our child to think, oh, that's how it is at home. So if somebody's treating me that way, it's cool, it's normal.
Mm.
Let's do our work. Let's get our lives together, because as you were saying that, I'm going down the checklist for me as a single mom, thinking, yep, got to get rid of that, and that, because I don't need no crack in the concrete where my kid is thinking, oh, well, yeah, mom will go off with certain things. So if somebody else I go off with that, it's the same level. Oh, same level, no baby. So
Yeah.
you're challenging me today to have to just check in my own home and house,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
make sure that I'm not creating any kind of a yes, it's okay, that is not okay, for them to go out there. No, nah, you are not my mama, you ain't my daddy, and you know that level where you're taking it, I ain't fitting to go with you. I'm just making me have to brush myself off, because I'm saying,
Me too. I'm
Yeah.
checking myself. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Shoot.
I'm on check. I'm on check. So
Yeah.
it sounds where
Yeah.
we going, because I'm trying to sit today.
Yeah.
This thing is rubbing me real kind of really. Whew.
Yeah. And y'all, we're gonna go in more into detail in part two, but I think I just want to end it on, well, one, saying that it's important to know who you are, right? I think that's more than saying, more than relying on someone to tell you who you are in a relationship. It's first knowing who you were designed to be, who you are, what is your purpose. But I'm also interested in this idea, because we in one of the aspects is domestic violence, right? And that involves bodily harm, right? And so how important is it to be in tune with your body, and what ways does the foundation either reconnect, introduce people to love their body and appreciate their body and listen to their body, so that they listen to it when something is off.
Yeah, so we have a nurse on our board. Um, so we haven't delved to the further extent of that, but I would say like being healthy, um, knowing your strength. A lot of the youth talk about different things like the human trafficking, like they're walking down the street and somebody tries to grab them, but they're on their phone, their head is down, they're not paying attention. So that made us do a self-defense class and making sure that people can defend themselves, and know somebody that's 5'4", 97 pounds and a 6'3", 250 person is going to be a struggle, but there are certain things that you can do to like try to get away, scream, scratch, claw, whatever you have to do. So I would say in being in tune with your body, but it's also being in tune with your environment and your surroundings, because we're not always paying attention. We're always trying to look at our phones, at TikTok, we're doing this, we're doing that, and then you look up and then it's like somebody got you. So it's just, just knowing your environment, looking around, knowing, and leaving is the most dangerous time for a person in a domestic violence situation. That's where most of fatalities occur. So having an extra exit strategy, having a cushion, and that's why we weave in arts and culture with this, because I'm like, if you can write a song, if you can write something and get additional income streams, you always have income coming in. You can move anywhere in the world and start over with your skills and talents. That's why we're honing in on your skills and talents, having a backup plan, a plan A, B, and C, financial literacy, all those things, a budget. Sometimes, like when I went through domestic violence training, having a bank account with no debit card. So when you're ready to leave, you have a bank that you never had access to, but it's sitting there waiting for you to pull funds from. So I think it's safety, and all that is your environment, having a plan, exit strategy, and all those things.
Yeah, me and Miss Sounds in the window to call us, because I'm just saying. That's a lot. All right, so risers, this was getting good, but we're gonna end part 1 here. There is a part 2 where we're gonna go deep into certain specific questions we want to ask, but this is a precursor because this thing is serious. And just saying, I'm gonna probably have you back, not beyond part 2, because I feel like we just started. I think we're at 1% of this conversation. But risers, hey, we're gonna do Rise and Fall in part 2, so that you can get Miss Sound's spa voice. Light your fireplaces and your candles, okay? Because she's gonna take us there at the end of part 2. Listen, be brilliant, be blessed, stay inspired and encouraged. Come back for part 2 because I asked you to. Yeah, that was it. I'm deep.
Because we said so. Yeah.
You're so deep. All right, guys, we'll see you guys soon. Please come back.